Hello and welcome to me, Peter Amott,
and me, Luke Gregory.
Media Evaluation for our radio show.
That's a good question. Me and Peter researched very deeply into voices of the people who talk on the radio shows, and we found out that quite a lot of the time the voices are male on the sports show, and we researched into what type of voices they use, like the pitch, the tone, and the rhythm, and how well they all flow together.
Yeah. We also researched into whether it should be commercial or non-commercial, just because we decided to go against codes and conventions actually and go for a non-commercial show, whereas other sports radio shows such as Talk Sport, Five Live have adverts. We thought ours would be better for the audience if we did not include any.
Take a listen to this clip we're just about to show you and listen to how the host welcomed people into the show, and his tone of voice is very important in this situation.
Very drawing in, it's quite comforting, the voice.
Take a listen.
Hello and welcome to Rack City Local Sports News with me, Peter Amott. Got a very good show lined up today. Obviously the broadcaster did not use the same tone or pitch or rhythm, that's the one, throughout the whole show, just to keep the audience interested really, so they keep listening, because otherwise if you have the same boring voice, then no one would want to listen to the radio show.
Yeah, we need more viewers. We obviously don't have high recording equipment to record our voices, so we actually use my iPhone, and we use an app on it called Voice Memos, which actually worked quite well because it recorded a lot of noise and background noise, so it made it sound really realistic and quite professional, which was good for us.
And also we mainly used the software GarageBand to put it all together, which I thought it was really well. And obviously we used sound effects off of that too, but they were non-copyright.
Yeah, and we listened to loads of radio shows. Talk Sport, for example,
Five Live.
We listened to their jingles and the music they played, like behind voices and before and after.
And didn't really try to mimic it, but we tried to make it sound
as interesting as possible, because there's nothing worse than having people talking all the
really
time.
Unclear as well.
Just like we're doing now.
Yeah. Not as good a question as the first one, but I'll answer it. Our radio show was aimed at males from the age range from about 20 to 50. Mainly because this is the people that watch football and know most about football in general, obviously not as a whole, but a specific audience. So if the person, obviously I'm not between the ages of 20 and 50, but if the broadcaster was this age, people would listen to it and feel as if they were more knowledgeable, realistic, and as if the presenter was more relatable to them.
And could share the same point of view, which is always important.
We used mainly male voices in the radio show, but we didn't see this as a massive hindrance because females aren't the target market for a football radio show.
We wanted to use a variety. So we did use female voices in our show once. That's just in the Vox Pop. That's just to mix it up a bit and make it not from just all men, which should attract some more audience, I should hope. If you want to take a listen to our Vox Pop now and take a listen to how we've used the male voices and the female voices. That's what they had to say. So you've got to get the win today, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've got a few games left for the rest of the season, so it's a must-win for us.
Who do you want to win today?
United!
Score going to be today?
2-0.
3-0.
10-0! Come on, you Rovers!
I think an institution such as maybe the BBC would put out a show such as this, just because of the amount of viewers that it would gain, as football is such a popular subject, and they would, as you can see with Five Live, the amount of viewers it gains on a Saturday afternoon. So I think this show would be, it's relatively the same, so I think an institution such as BBC would put it out.
Our audience when doing this was we did have an age range from like 15 years to 80 years old, because we did think that old people would still be interested in football and would like to listen to our show.
Young people definitely are.
Yeah, so young people, like teenagers who can just like learn to drive, would like put on the radio and listen to us on a Saturday. Or like people at home who couldn't go to the games,
maybe doing housework or something as well,
would like to sit there and listen to our show and get the update on the scores. And we try to like attract the audience by talking about football as much as we could and trying to build up for the match. The match was taking place. We had like team news and the box pop. It's just all like building up
also
for the game. Calling in. Yeah, people calling in. It's just all. That was just all part of the build up to the main fixture, which everyone was interested about.
For gripping our audience from the introduction, we used clear sounding voices, made them feel welcome when we spoke to them, and also we kept the pitch, the tone, not the same, so people would not get bored of the show. We also used proper language, but not too posh, because you want the broadcaster to be relatable to all types of people that will be listening to the show.
We also use a variety of music which we got off GarageBand to put at the back of us talking, and this makes it obviously interesting and it makes the audience want to listen to it. It will be like breaking up the voice from time to time.
Yeah, just so that people don't get bored and they stay interested in the show.
And we think this was like a big attraction. It makes it seem a lot more interesting. Halfway through our radio station, if you just take a listen to what we did.
Call us on 887722.
887722, or tweet us at Rack City Sports.
As you heard, we said you can text us at a number, and then we said tweet us. So we're bringing social networking into our radio station to like attract a younger audience as well as the older lot.
just to make it more accessible. You may not have. I know a lot of people would maybe listen to it online. You may not have a phone with you, but still you can go online and make your comments about the show.
And we thought adding a social networking site into it would be very important, because we know how popular they are in youth lives nowadays. So yeah, we thought it'd be a very important thing in our radio show.
Not to specify, make it so it caters for all ages.
I think that we've learned about the radio is that their main objective is to keep the audience listening to what they're saying, and they do that by obviously not talking for so long, and they'll always break and try and keep it flowing at a nice constant pace to make it smooth for the listener to listen to.
Yeah. I also think that using sound effects really helps keep the listener entertained, because it breaks up. You don't want someone sitting there talking for half an hour with no break in between. So the sound effects really break it up, and the variety of different things on the show, from the guest on to Luke, obviously at the game, I think it was very interesting and kept the listener listening.
And also the quality of the microphone has to be good, because you need your voice on the radio to be really clear and understandable for the audience, because otherwise it's just pointless in doing. Now looking back at our prelim task, we have looked at ourselves and know we've improved so much. If you just want to take a listen to our introduction to our prelim, and then we'll compare to the other one.
Absolutely world-class performance. He's just straight to the top and he's just got to go.
Sports FM.
Welcome to Sports FM Saturday Football Roundup with me, Peter Ramon.
And me, Luke Gregory. And our special guest for today's show is... Stephen Carr's in it! It's Carr! What a goal by Stephen Carr! Of course, it's Birmingham City captain Stephen Carr joins us in the studio. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Thank you, it's great to be here.
Now, if you listen to the introduction to our final piece, and
see how much
we'll compare it after.
You're listening to Rack City Sports.
Hello and welcome to Rack City Local Sports News with me, Peter Amon. Got a very good show lined up today. Here's what's coming up.
So going from the beginning of it, I think the jingle is a lot better in the improved one because it's more upbeat. There's no calling in, which I think was better because it's sort of, you couldn't really hear the jingle at the same time. It was a bit muffled, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And also, in our first one, we sounded a bit like we were quite rushing through it, trying to get it all in. Whereas our improved one, our final one, is more relaxed atmosphere, it's more clear speaking, and you can understand the broadcaster better, which makes it more interesting.
Also, for the outside broadcast we did it artificially. We didn't actually go outside and record real sound. We recorded it off the TV and put a voice over it and then altered the voice, and it didn't sound that good at all. But at the time we actually thought it did. But after months of trying and going through loads of different stages of trying to do it well, we finally did it well the other day, and we think it sounds quite good. If you'd like to take a listen.
Rack United with the early possession here, Peter. It's 0-0, and as we talk, they're on the counter-attack here. Blackett down the right wing, he crosses it in! Oh, and Warren, how's he missed that? It's an absolute sitter, it's still 0-0. Oh, it was a great move by Rack United, but it hasn't found the net, and it's still 0-0 here. Back to you, Peter.
And as you can hear, the background noise of the crowd there is all real sounds which I recorded out at a football game in Derby. And we used the voice. I didn't do it at the time. We put voice over and merged the two together. And it obviously sounds really effective and realistic, which is what we really wanted when we were creating that.
Personally, I thought the Vox Pop and the outside broadcast were the best parts of the show because you see them in a normal sports radio show, so it's really realistic. And I thought it went together well, especially merging the crowd noise and Luke speaking. It sounded really realistic, and the Vox Pop sounded quite realistic as well, where it was just filmed in Luke's garden.
Yeah, we needed to, when filming the Vox Pop, make it sound like there were other people around, and you hear that in the first little interview with it was actually Armand. We got two people to start chanting in the background to make it sound like it was outside the stadium and they were just about to go in for the game. And this we felt was important as well because otherwise it's just silent in the background and
it's not realistic.
It doesn't sound that realistic. Comparing that to other ones we've watched on YouTube, we watched one on YouTube which was about 4 minutes long, and there was background noise and you saw people walking about. So we wanted to try and replicate that as much as we could. We didn't think much went that wrong or didn't work well, apart from maybe the phone call, because it was kind of all rushed at the end and we needed to fit it in a certain time limit. I think if we had more time, we could have made it a bit better, but it was just going off topic and we kind of lost things to talk about. So
it didn't really flow well, the conversation, did it? It wasn't awkward, but
yeah.
I think I probably could have asked him better questions, but also, in the instance, it sounds a bit more realistic because not all calls in are going to be perfect.
We've made major improvements from when we started doing our radio show. This is actually the third draft we've done of it, and it's improved, I think, quite well over the
I think
over 3 times.
Our first one was quite good. Our second one was really rushed, and it didn't have much sound effects in. I thought
just
that
a lot
was
of talking.
Quite poor. Whereas this one, I think, is the best one yet. It's clearer voice. There's more stuff going on in it, if you get what I mean. But
I think the more research we did into radio, the more we kind of learnt about it and changed it. We wouldn't just settle for something. If we did something and we listened to it back, and if we didn't think it sounded good, we'd try and change it and make it better than it was. So this is something we did throughout the last part of media we did.
Yep. On the whole, I think it really worked well, our product. The only thing I would have changed would have been the cooler end, but we didn't have much time to change that as it was only recorded a day before the deadline. But as you can see from comments that Luke has said, that obviously other people thought it was good, and we were really happy with it, weren't we?
We were. We'd like to thank you for listening to our evaluation.
Yeah, thanks.
And expecting the A star.